think about one of your normal days, and think about maybe one of the first things you have to do early in the day is go to work, and that goes to dissatisfied. Work. You're screwed. But if you're in this I'm going to prepare my atmosphere sort of attitude, and you write income satisfying, maybe a person there that is pleasing to you, find something that moves that in that early stage before you get too far with it, or any of the other subjects that are easier to find satisfaction upon. Then what happens is you get this day off in a different vibrational way than it was ever before, and the day therefore is different because of what you've done. And then when you associate that slight adjustment that you made at the center of your being to the way these thoughts in this day turn to the things that they turn to, it's not long before you really begin to feel invincible. You really begin to feel the control you have of your own point of attraction, of your own life experience. And then you reach this place, you're already there in many regards, where temptation isn't the right word, the proclivity, the impulse to try to find mutuality with another person starts to fade, because often when you do that, there's not satisfaction for you. If you join someone there, you're often way down the road from satisfaction. So as Esther began thinking about this, and she was thinking about sometimes people in her world who seemed to be thwarting her steady satisfaction, and she would call those the complainers in life, the staters of facts that are complaining in nature. And so when Esther turned her attention toward a particular complainer, she heard something that we'd said to her on occasion before. You know, complaining about complaining is still complaining. Oh. And then she had a very powerful thought come into her mind. Sort of shook her up a little bit. I do a lot of complaining in my mind without even any words coming out. And that's what dissatisfaction is. Just finding something that I don't like. If I'm by myself, Esther doesn't drive down the highway by herself and speak her complaints out loud. She just thinks them out loud, thinks them into the atmosphere. You're following this, aren't you? So then the other day when we were in Alaska together, had many days in conversations with a lovely group like you, and in one of the conversations we explained that your relationship with another person is much more about your thoughts about them than about any time you spend with them. Yikes. Which means you're in complete control of your point of attraction. So when you decide you're going to start preparing your own atmosphere, you're going to start tuning yourself to satisfaction, you're going to start listening to what your inner being thinks about this and that, and your inner being thinks about everything that you think about and has a pure non-resistant vibrational point of attraction about it, and you're just doing this simple thing of leaning towards satisfaction, what you're going to discover is you're going to get all your power back. And the other thing that's going to happen to you right away is you're going to start and continue to live happily ever after. Because there are always going to be things that are in the process of being manifest that aren't manifested, that could take you into a momentum that you don't like. But if satisfaction is your only powerful intention and you know what to do about it, you're off and running. So where does that leave you in light of what you were wanting to talk about? My feeling of satisfaction will show me whether I'm lined up with what I've decided or whether I'm lined up in opposition to what I've decided. Because I decided I want nice, not rude. I want clear, not confused. I want prosperous, not needy. I want thrilling, not boring. I want beautiful, not ugly and dirty. You've decided, you've lived enough life that you have made a very clear distinction of what you want. And your inner being, so is it. So is all of that.
It's so interesting because most recently, I've had a couple things come up that in the past, these same things came up I'm not going to get specific about them, but they seem detrimental to me. And now, with this time when it came up again, I was just like, no matter what happens, it's great. No matter what happens.
Those things are irrelevant unless you activate them.
I don't even it'll come in for sort of review, and I'm not even going to pay attention to you. I'm just going to let you dissipate into nothingness.
Let's talk about that. So let's say something happened 20 years ago. And it happened, and you had a knee-jerk response to it, and of course you did. Because it happened, and you didn't want it, you didn't like it, you had a knee-jerk response to it, and so there was a moment in time where whatever happened caused you to be less of a vibrational match to who you really are. Then 20 years ago that happened, but you updated it 19 years ago, 18 years ago, 17 years ago, 15, 14. You talked about it yesterday. So you kept it active, didn't need to, kept it active because it happened, and because you're enamored with what you can see and hear and smell and taste and touch, and because you're entertainers and you like to entertain people with, oh, well, I can tell you one better than that. It's the updating of it. It's the updating of something in your current vibration. But if you are all over this idea of satisfaction, and you wake up on this fresh new morning and you're looking for satisfying thoughts, and anything that has anything to do with that starts to waft into your mind, you're going to get out in front of it and stop it early on by reaching for something else. And it won't be long until you have not updated it recently enough that it won't operate with your current operating system at all. You got anything going on like that in your computer world? You don't keep updating, pretty soon your operating system moves on and you can't even open the program. You're too far past it. And that's what happens with those old detrimental beliefs. But if you think about them, you just keep updating and updating and updating and updating.
And I think it makes me feel good when certain things do come up and they don't have an effect on me anymore. It feels like, oh wow, I've updated it to satisfaction.
Now you see, so that's what we call step 5.
You can't hurt me anymore.
Step 1 is life causes you to ask because the contrast insists on it, just like you knew it would. You launch a rocket of desire, that's asking, and it happens from contrast. Step 1. Step 2 is source. Your inner being gets all over it. Your source accepts what you've asked for, knows that you want it, focuses up on it without resistance, and becomes the vibrational point of attraction for the cooperative components to come. So you ask and it is given. Step 3 is you care about the way you feel, so you're reaching for thoughts of satisfaction, so you're lined up with what you're asking for because you're not offering any resistance, and so you're in tune with what you've asked for. You're in the receiving mode. You're in the receiving mode. Now you're in the receiving mode. Now thoughts are turning to things. Step 4 is just being really good at step 3, by the way. Step 4 is sort of mastering that. Step 4 is caring so much about being satisfied that you catch it early and you do it almost every time. And so that's your habit. That's step 4. You've got mastery of step 3, mastery of being in the receiving mode. And step 5 is you're tuned in, tapped in, turned on. You walk into something that's contrasting in nature, like the doors being closed and a crush of people trying to kill you from behind. And you're still tuned in, tapped in, turned on. You're still inspired. You don't panic. You're not resentful. You're not worried. You're empowered. Step 5 is it used to bother me, but it doesn't anymore because I've got all of this understanding and knowledge of the universe under my feet. One more thing we want to give to you. So, when you are in the receiving mode, which you will be unless you're dissatisfied in some way, you'll just automatically be in the receiving mode unless you're dissatisfied about something. Satisfied is your default position from non-physical. You've sort of taught yourself otherwise as you got here and hung around with them. But satisfied is what's normal to you. So we want to say being satisfied is being in the receiving mode. And being in the receiving mode is being tuned in, tapped in, turned on. And being in the receiving mode is being in the replenishing mode. It's the clarity mode. It's the optimum mode. But we also want to say all of that is being under the influence of your source energy, under the influence of that pure positive energy, under the influence. Well, in every waking moment, you're under the influence of something because you're offering a vibration that is causing you to tap into something. In other words, when you offer a radio signal, law of attraction finds for you a vibrational equivalent. So you are always under the influence. Esther created and sent to the printer and has received back now some dash cards. A dash card, it's written backwards. So if you look at it, you can't really tell what it is. But when you put it on your dash or in front of a mirror, if you don't have a car, and it reflects, when you read it back, it says, and she didn't think it would be a good bumper sticker. She didn't think you should run around with this on your bumper. Under the influence. Under the influence. So when you care that you're in the receiving mode or under the influence, or you're aware of what influence you're under, am I under the influence of source or the worrisome mother that talked about so many things that could go wrong? Am I under the influence of source or CNN? What am I under the influence of? Those are where you're making the choices, because you've already put it in your vortex, and what's in your vortex is already gestated and it's already ready to be birthed out here into the atmosphere where you can see it and hear it and smell it and taste it and touch it. So you've already made the choices. The question is, what am I now choosing of all of that to let in? What am I under the influence of?
There are moments, and there have been moments, and I'm getting them more and more and more, where I actually say to myself, can it really be this easy?
Yeah.
And it just feels incredible. Thank you so much.
So we're just going to guide you just a little bit here. When you say, can it really be this easy? Under what influence are you?
I'm under my source's influence.
Well, let's see.
Okay.
Because if you say, this is easy, you're under your source's influence. If you're saying, can it really be this easy? Maybe not so much. Am I paying a big enough price? Can I really find the car I really want first crack out of the box when I go to a dealership? Or do I need to look at every car in the city before I make a decision? Can it really be that easy? Can I follow guidance? Can it really be that easy? Meet this person somewhere and feel this mutual attraction, and it came out of nowhere and it happened instantaneously? Oh, it can't be that easy. You need to go sit on the shelf for a little while I examine every other person in the vicinity of you. Can it really be that easy? Is source really that good? Yes, source is really that good.
Thank you. Thank you, because that is the answer I get back when I say that to myself. Can it really be that easy? I can feel internally it say yes.
But can you hear the differentiation?
Yes, I can.
Can you hear the catching?
And I'm trying to get there.
Because if you say, can it really be that easy? Your mind is going to other things that felt easy that went south. Oh yeah, I remember that seemed easy. Yeah, remember how that turned out? You can get down that rabbit hole pretty quick, can't you? This is easy. This is easy. I can do this. This is easy. This is easy. I can do this. Esther's been saying to herself mostly, but to anyone that she thinks is ready to hear it, and to a lot who aren't ready to hear it. What do? I'm a pointer. What? I'm a pointer. What do? I point. I say, I'd like that tile in bathroom number 5. I'd like that tile in bathroom number 4. I'd like that flooring all through the house. I'd like that chandelier over there and that chandelier over there. I'd like to live happily ever after. I'm a pointer. And now that she understands that she's the pointer, then the universe delivers the others who are in vibrational concert. She used to worry, if I'm pointing and others are doing the doing, aren't I taking advantage of them? No, because law of attraction would not bring you someone who's not a vibrational match to whatever it is. It's a big world with a lot of intentions and a lot of beliefs and a lot of people at different phases of whatever they are about. She can point at everyone that she knows and loves, all of these people who move about with her from place to place. I want the best in the world for you. Done. I want the best in the world for you. And you and you and you and you and you and you and you. In other words, she doesn't have to say, and here's how it will come to you, or, and I will provide the avenue. She's just pointing there. And when she points, her inner being says, we're on it. We're on it. Self-advocator and advocator for the others you love. We're on it. It's up to them about what they choose. Up to each of them. You can't choose for them. You can advocate for them. You can point for them, you see. Really good, huh?
Thank you so much.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. This is the perfect